Hello there, and welcome to my channel Novice Modelling and the Midlife Crisis. My name's Andy, and tonight I'm sharing with you my mass production technique for priming my collection of 12 vintage Spitfires, which I refer to as my dirty dozen. The reason I'm doing this is I'm actually hoping to learn a few things about the painting process with eventually using my new airbrush. Unfortunately, the second video in this series where I painted the upper surfaces of these 12 aircraft was lost due to a technical malfunction. I sincerely apologise for this, but I am actually a card-carrying technophobe, so my sincere apologies. I'm just going to give you a quick run through again of the aircraft that we're actually going to be dealing with tonight. Apologies if you've seen the original first video of this, but it's an interesting recap all the same. First off, we have my 1982 Matchbox Mark 9, followed by my Kovazovi Prostakov Mark 9. Moving on to my 1990s Encore Mark 1, 2 or 3, followed by my Hella 1980 Mark 1, and my Airfix Snap and Fix 1980 Mark 1, which is suffering from battle damage as it fell off the desk rather hardly. And we go on to the Hasegawa 1980 Mark 1. In addition to this, we have my infamous 1980s Starfix P51 Deem Mustang, which I attack with my Black & Decker sander in a rather unique technique I call B&DSM, Black & Decker sanding machine. Next, moving on to my Ventura Mark 22 from 1995, another infamous addition from my collection, as I built this incredibly badly, much to the consternation of some rather nice fellows on YouTube who put me rights about this particular model. Next, we're moving on to a Testors 1978 Mark II. This was featured in a video where I bish bash bosh this one together in 1 minute and 35 seconds. Not sure whether that's a YouTube record for building a 172 Spitfire, but it must be pretty damn close. Next off, we're moving on to a Hawk 1967 Mark 22. Now a Pioneer Mark 5C Tropical from 1989, followed by a PM Models 1982 Mark 5B, and last but not least, my Frankenstein's Monster, which I made out of a Smare combined with a Mr. Mark 5B. So again, I apologise for losing the previous video where I did the upper surface of these. There is actually a video with me painting the bottom surfaces. So now I'm just going to reposition my iPhone to my ceiling mounted contraption so we can watch what's going on. I just need to change it up to 1.8, and I'll turn my extra little lights on. It is dark here now, unfortunately, and rather cold, strangely enough. So basically, because we've already done the upper surfaces, basically what we're going to be doing is just going to be doing a bit of touching up, I suppose. We've got these on a little swivel stand. Unfortunately, what I have noticed is the joining lines where I could have obviously fill these in. Since I've painted them, they've become much more pronounced and unsightly. So I might actually have a go at filling these in and just touching them up with a bit of primer, afterwards. But I think, considering this is the first time I've actually done any spray painting since I was about 14, which was a bit of graffiti, to be honest with you, these have actually turned out surprisingly well. I must admit, I'm rather flabbergasted, but that doesn't take much for me to get flabbergasted. So we're going to start off with some ash grey primer by Army Painter. Like I've said previously, I've selected this over the regular Tamiya, as well, I got this off Amazon. It just seemed to be a little bit cheaper than a larger cam. So here we go. There doesn't really appear to be much to do, so I'm just going to give it a few little bursts every now and again. Hopefully I'm not going to destroy my half decent novice work. I think that one's done, so we'll move that one out of the way. Now we'll get our Kovazovody Postakov Mark 9. This has got the stub wings, which is quite common in the Mark 9s. It also has a tropical filter, which is kind of strange. Next we've got our 1980s Encore Mark 1 or Mark 2 or Mark 3. This one has got a bit of dribble on it, I've noticed. There we go. That finishes the ones I want to do in the grey. Now we're going to move on to our skeleton bone. Again, we've got the stub wings on this one. This is the one I built out of a Smur and a Mr. Craft set. I call it my Frankenstein's monster. And that's just about it. Next up we have the PM Models 1982 Mark 5B. This is looking quite nice. Not a particularly great model, but it's very easy to build. Good for a novice like myself. Next up we've got our Pioneer 5-seat Tropical from 1989, which is actually a rebox of the previous PM. Okay. Change out our paints again. I'm going to move on to matte white. Get the lid off, that is. There we go. Next up of our Hella 1980 Mark 1. I'm actually going to give these another touch up a bit later on, but I won't bother boring you with that, I don't think. A few of these actually dropped off my improvised storage solution, shall we call it, and suffered some damage to propellers and undercarriage. This was the worst victim. The Airfix Snap and Fix 1980 Mark 1. It's lost the propeller blade, lost all of its undercarriage, and it lost part of the tail. But we can try and put that on another day. I'm actually hoping to paint these in a variety of colours. The ones that I've done in the skeleton bone, I'm going to be doing in tropical, sort of beige and brown sort of colours for the African campaign. The grey ones I'm going to be doing in green and grey. The white ones I'm going to be doing in brown and green. And the black ones, which we're going to see in a minute, I'm probably going to be doing in dark grey and green as well. I actually did the black one, did some of them in black, mainly because I've seen some slightly more experienced modelers than myself, which is not a hard thing. Using a technique called pre-shading, which I think is mainly used for figures, where you kind of get some of the black coming through and it kind of makes it look dirty and oil streaked. So I thought it'd be an easy and interesting thing just to have a go with that, basically. I think that's probably why I actually decided to to do them in black. This is my P51 Deem Mustang, which I attacked with the Black & Decker sander. There's a couple of videos on that. It's quite amusing, I think, to be honest with you. But I seem to recall using a couple of subscribers over it. So obviously not everybody shares my anarchic sense of humour. I've got 3 left to do if you've managed to bear with me this far. These are going to be doing in the black. These have actually come up really nice. I'm really quite chuffed with these, to be honest with you. This is the Hawk Mark 22, which is actually from 1967. So this is like a 55-year-old model, which is highly weird. But obviously nobody wanted it, so I bought it. Now we're painting it on YouTube. It's famous. Well, it's famous with my 500 and something subscribers anyway. There we go. Not looking too bad. Next up we have our Testors 1978 Mark 22, which, like I've said before, I built this in 1 minute and 35 seconds. It's not too bad, is it? I mean, it's got a bit of a droop there, but maybe we'll fix that. Kind of hoping he's come out quite nice now, to be honest. Oh dear. To be honest with you, I was worrying about this spray painting malarkey, but first impressions seem to be coming out quite reasonable. And last but not least, we have the Ventura Mark 22 from 1995. I actually have 5 of these Venturas now. I made such a terrible mess of this, and some nice experienced model makers kind of shook their fists at me. So I bought 5, and I intend to use these as a sort of benchmark for my to chart my progress. Hopefully I'm going to become a little bit better at this modelling game. And these are quite difficult to build, so even for a Spitfire. So I think this is it's going to be an interesting little series. I might build another one of these in a couple of weeks. There's a lot of filing involved, a lot of sanding. Yeah, they're a bit of a nightmare. So anyway, that completes tonight's mass production experiment. For those that you have been wondering what the hell this guy was doing for the past 7 weeks, bish bash boshing Spitfires together very quickly. Well, basically this is kind of the reason why. What we're going to be doing, like I said just now, is we're going to put a top coat on these. The grey ones, we're going to just do a grey top coat with my airbrush, and then we're going to do the green, and then we're going to do the fine detailing all in one go across all 12 aircraft. So that means I can just do, undo my rubber black and do 12 lots of rubber black wheels at the same time, and then I can undo my aluminium and then do 12 lots of aluminium details, and then the white ones, which like I said, I'm going to be doing in green and brown. I might do some of these with the pre and early war white and black undersides. Again, I can just paint all these in the brown first and then do the green camo on top, and again then just do the fine detailing all in one fell swoop across all 12 aircraft. I mean, it's kind of unconventional, I realise that, and kind of bizarre, but it just kind of seems logical to me to practice. If you're going to practice, and I haven't got an endless pocket of money at the end of the day, but this just seemed like a good idea to me. So yeah, there's been quite a lot of interest in my channel, which is I found quite surprising and gratifying, and I've got about 560 subscribers, and I'm actually more than, I think it's something like 2/3 of the way to getting monetized on YouTube. I need some more subscribers, obviously, so subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money, it just costs YouTube money, and then any money that I get out of it I'm just gonna throw at models at the end of the day. So it's kind of a win-win situation. I think the going rate for a view on YouTube is 0.01 pence. So I'm not quite sure how many thousands of views I'm going to have to get to buy a Spitfire or replace the paints, like, you know. But it's kind of shocking, because I kind of thought I would be getting about 200 views a week, and at one point, dizzying point a couple of weeks ago, I was getting 200 views an hour, which, you know, is stupefying, really. I know obviously a lot of YouTubers out there, you know, make a decent living out of this, but I'm doing this in my garage in a cardboard box at the end of the day, so I don't really have any intentions of retiring off this sort of thing. I think I'd be lucky to buy a couple of models out of it every year. But anyway, it's an interesting topic of conversation that I think I might share with you in the future if you're interested. I mean, obviously there's a lot of analytics that YouTube provide on viewers and who they are and where they're from and stuff, and I find it fascinating. And like I say, and I think it's obvious in my comments boxes, that I do really enjoy kind of engaging with you guys when you do have the time to drop a comment or something like that. I'm not a serious modeler. I don't ever intend to be a sort of professional at this. I am kind of a guy in a garage just having a bit of a laugh, making a few models on his day off, you know. So anyway, I'll leave you with that thought, and please subscribe, you know. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back probably tomorrow, and I'll just go through all these models and do some close-ups and show you what the results are, because I'm actually quite surprised. They look reasonably decent. I'm quite chuffed. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be seeing you.